Hi, everyone. It's Anna from the Heartbeat Hive. And today I thought I would try something different as far as showing you guys how I map out ideas and concepts and things that I'm working through. Sometimes it takes me drawing out and moving things around or articulating an expression through line or a drawing, a diagram. These diagrams and drawings that I do, I call them maps. They're not meant to be precise. They're not meant to be pretty. I don't really care what they look like. So if you've watched my other videos, like way down in there, I used to do some of these and explain different concepts, but this is going to be different in the way of I want to draw out what my process is in real time to expand upon a subject matter or concept that I'm exploring or explaining. Now, I do this a lot during coaching sessions, and I just thought I would start doing them on YouTube or other places so that you could try this out for yourself and see if it helps you become more clear, if it helps you decide on the task that you want to do, if something clicks in your brain, if something clicks in your soul, your heart, or whatever, you have a realization about yourself and about how you want to live your life through diagramming and mapping things out. Some people are not exactly like touchy-feely, really familiar with words to describe how they feel or the direction they want to go. So drawing it out can really help. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pause the video and come back with my iPad and we'll just see what happens. This is all spontaneous and hopefully you'll enjoy it and give it a try yourself. All right, here we go. So this is all live. I don't really have a goal in mind besides to kind of show you how I might map something out for myself or a client to reiterate a concept or expand upon it, explore it. I don't have all the answers. So I just go and experiment and see what happens. All right, so let's think about 2023. All right, we're coming up on a new year. If you're watching this in shortly after it was posted, December 2022. So as I think about this, I would like to identify more of the direction I want to go and what I want from life. And that brings me up to kind of how am I moving about my life? And sometimes it's challenging, let's say, to see yourself in the future. And we definitely don't want to be in the past too much. The past is relevant in the sense of it brought you to here, but constantly dragging it along or looking for things from the past to show up in the future, that it can be dangerous, right? But if we know we've done something in the past, let's say in a positive way, and we've had success in one area, we know in our logical brain that it's possible now and in the future, which is great. So let me just map out some of these thoughts in a visual and we'll go from there. All right, so I'm thinking about kind of like time, right? So time in the past has been or a lot of times is shown as like this linear thing, and it's really not. So for me, this would be considered like clock time, this type of line. So yeah, I can mark out, I don't know, all the months or whatever. I don't know how many there are here, but this could be the months, this type of diagram. And while that's great, I'm over here. Let's say that I'm over here. And let's say this is where I want to be. Right now, I'm thinking about how the only difference between this person like me right now and this person that I want to become is time and energy. So this whole area, the only difference between this and this is time and energy. So time can be also experienced subjectively. This is called subjective time. This is the type of time that happens when you are doing something that you're in flow with. And, for example, this year could have gone by really quickly for some people, and it could have dragged on for some people. So this is just a starting point for me. I'm looking at linear time here. The only difference between this and this is time and energy. So let's think about, if time and energy are factors in getting what I want, am I, feeling good about that? Yes. Do I feel a lack of time and energy? Sometimes. All right. So when I feel a lack of time and energy, what does that look like in the 3D world, like, physical world? So let's describe a lack state first. Lack feels like, okay, depleted, tired, confused. Let's see, empty, right? Cluttered, right? Sometimes it'll be like brain fog or whatever. I'll just put that down. Okay, so I got some of those. Unprepared just came up. While we can't prepare for everything, there are some things we can be prepared for in the way of taking care of ourselves so that whatever comes our way, we're maybe more prepared. Anyway, so that's a lack standpoint. What would it feel like if I was like really full and satisfied in life, right? A non-lack standpoint. What would that feel like? And I'm doing this so I can see the contrast and help myself understand as I move into 2023, what are the things that I really can't afford to compromise on in the way of, we're talking about the physical right now. I'm going to stay focused on the physical, which is like my environment and my body, right? Okay. So to feel satisfied in the physical sense in the coming year, I needed to look at what it feels like not to feel good, to feel lack, depleted, tired, whatever, and switch it over to the other side so I can say, what do I really want? Am I going to have some of this? Of course I'm going to have some of this, but I'm aiming for this side over here. This is what I'm aiming for. All right, so I'm going to use a different color just for funsies. All right. So what does it feel like when I'm satisfied and full? In the physical sense, I am getting good sleep. You ever go traveling, you're at the airport, you have a long ass layover, and everything seems terrible in that moment? There's a reason for that, and there's a scientific reason for that, with the vagus nerve being very irritated, agitated, right? We can have negative thinking patterns when our vagal tone, which is the status of the vagus nerve, the largest nerve in the body, spanning from the gut to the brainstem, we can feel like we're powerless. Okay, we can make bad decisions. We can even speak poorly when our vagal tone is low. And you can track this with your heart rate variability tracking. All right, so moving on to that, which is something that I do encourage in coaching, is tracking your heart rate variability. All right, so getting good sleep, that's good. Eating well. These seem so basic, but as I'm planning out 2023, I'm just reminding myself of what is going to help me have a better experience next year. What happens when these things go off the rails, when these things aren't prioritized? This is the result. And so I'm making it very clear for myself right now as I'm drawing these things out. All right, so eating well, sleeping well. I would say some social interaction, right? Maybe that's not a physical thing, but making the appointments or being around other people is important. My environment is clean. So when my environment is cluttered or, messy, or I haven't taken the time to really understand what I need to do or prioritize, keeping the environment the way that is helpful for me to work, that's not good for me. That puts me in a state of lack, because then I'm like, oh, I really need to clean this. I can't work here. It's too cluttered. So that it needs to be a priority. All right. So when I feel satisfied and full, what are the opposite of some of these things? Confused. So I need to be clear, right? Deliberate is a good word. Hope I spelled that right. Deliberate. Unprepared. I don't think I need to make an opposite of that. I think all of these things really help in feeling this. I'm going to say empowered. Yeah. And you know what? In the physical sense, ooh, that means working out. You ever feel like a fucking badass when you work out? Yeah. For those of you who do, it feels really good when you get done and everything. You're like, yeah. So why do we not prioritize it? All right, things to think about. So let's keep moving here. Now I want to think about myself in the grander scheme of time and space. I'm an object, essentially, right now. I was energy, and now I'm an object, moving through time and space. So let me just zoom back out visually to how I'm going to get from, this right here to here, in 2023. Okay, I'm just focusing on the coming year. Let me change my colors here again. Let's go back to that. What I think would be helpful is to visualize time and space more as a cube rather than a line, right? The line is the perception that time is linear, when really it's not. And the reason for that is like, we can be on our own timeline doing our own thing, then interact with someone, and those, experiences, maybe in the same town, the same street, the same coffee shop, the same schedule, their experience is going to be different from mine, because subjective time, how I perceive the distance, the time passing between one event and another, is different from theirs. Okay. So let's think about this in the way of a box. Let's treat time like this. Well, it would be time and space. We're not going to separate that right now. You know what? I don't think I did the perspective very well on this box. Way to go, art school. Okay, let's pretend like that box looks good. Okay, so I'm going to switch colors here to help with this point, okay? So let's imagine that I'm inside of this box, which is what we're going to call 2023, right? Let's say I'm right over here. This is 2023 will be the focus for this, but we're not going to change thinking about ourselves in the grand scheme of like my life, right? So let's say that I am right over here. This is me right now. And this is me at the end of the year. Now, you can see that I am using this in a more linear sense. It looks like a line. But what is actually going to happen is I'm going to move about time and space in this container here, and I'm going to reference clock time, and I'm going to experience subjective time. So let me just write those again. Clock time and subjective time. And what we're looking at right here, this like box, if you will, even though there is no box, right? There is no spoon. this is what we're going to call natural time. And if you think of natural time in the sense of like the grand scheme of energy, right? Time and energy. We want to make sure that we are aware of subjective time and clock time. So we use clock time in order to set appointments, okay, with other people. Usually that's what that's used for. It can be used for our own schedules, but how we experience that is going to be right over here in subjective time. So we can time block out something, but whether or not that hour and a half, flows by like that or it drags on, that's subjective to each person. So if you ask someone who really loves what they do and a whole hour and a half goes by, they may say, oh, I didn't even realize, I felt like 15 minutes, right? Because what they're doing is something they really enjoy and they're really focused on. Now, someone who's like waiting for the clock, like waiting for that time to pass, they're going to feel it drag on because they're focused on the clock time and not the experience, right? So how do you change the experience? Like this is basically time bending. What we do is we try to either change our attitude or the actual activities that we are doing. So the attitude would be like being versus doing. And this is how we can bend time. Pretty cool, huh? All right. So the focus here on this diagram is me inside of this container that I've created for 2023. What's really going to happen as I move about 2023 is I am going to do something more like this. So you can see that I'm making my way toward this point on clock time of the end of 2023. But I'm going to be moving about in space and time, right? Doing these different things, experiencing different things. And sometimes it'll feel like a step backwards. Sometimes it'll be like a leap forward. Sometimes I'll feel really connected to an event because I've placed meaning on it. Sometimes I will be really focused on the future. But if you notice, I'm not going to harp on, let's say that this did feel like a step back. I'm not going to harp on this point because I know that this is coming, that this will happen eventually as far as clock time goes. The end of the year is going to arrive, right? So if I get stuck right over here, trying to figure out what I did wrong, beating myself up over it, thinking about things I could have done differently. Yeah, I'll do that for a couple of minutes and then I'll be like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I want to go this direction. Because sitting here and focusing on this subtracts from what we're doing over here, right over here, which is keeping our eye on where we want to be when that time comes. Now, are we hyper focused on the future all the time? No, we can't do that because it really cuts out the equation of right now and enjoying what you've accomplished, enjoying the process of being alive. And this is a big attitude change. Whenever challenges and obstacles come about, I'm not feeling like this is not every time, but I don't aim to feel like, oh, here we go again, right? Or not again, or why me? I'm seeing it as like, okay, cool. So this is an opportunity. Do I need to rest before I really dig into this? Do I need to get out some sort of emotion that is within me? Do I need to change my perspective? Go hiking, probably. Do I need to speak to someone who encourages me, supports me, who cares about me, who would understand how I might feel? What do I need to do for me to remain focused over here, but not like miss out on the joy of what is happening all along the way? Okay. So this is essentially time bending. I didn't know I was going to get into this subject, but that's what happens when I start diagramming things. It's really kind of fun. All right, so let me just wrap up this thought here for myself as I'm focusing on 2023. Here I am right now, the end of 2022. And I know that all this stuff is going to happen, but I can't be worried about the how. I can't be worried about the how so much that I get paralyzed into not doing anything. I've got to be so excited about the possibility of this right here that no matter what comes in, let's say there's an obstacle, no matter what comes in here into this, container of natural time, that I will overcome it, that I will get past it, that I will figure out a way. I will find someone, I will learn something, I will try, I will attempt, I will let go of, being attached to the outcome necessarily. And that is a huge part of moving yourself forward, is really getting real. Is this one little thing in the grand scheme, when you look at this diagram as a whole? Let me get another color here. When you look at this diagram as a whole, this one little obstacle over here, does it affect the whole thing? Maybe. Maybe. But if I have the belief that it always will affect me, then it will definitely. For me, I have an umbrella phrase when I face challenges or obstacles. It goes like this. I seek solutions, right? So I don't see, when I identify a problem, right? I seek the solution. I'm not going, the problem's so bad. Oh, the problem. I'm like, okay, what's the solution in this moment? And does this really matter in the grand scheme here of my life? It might feel really big in the moment, but when I zoom back out, come back out and look at this natural time type box of me, my starting point, and where I want to go in life, who I want to become, this right here needs to be insignificant. Do we have events that happen that change our lives forever? Yes, absolutely. But it is our decision, it is our choice to work on how we're going to move forward and how much meaning we're going to give whatever it is, and how that event is going to change our lives. Yes, it can change. Your life can change without your permission, but you always have the right to respond or change or adapt or evolve the way that you would like to, depending on whatever that obstacle or challenge or event may be. That is your power. Okay. So when we, I keep marking this up. When we look at this sort of thing, let me go back up here on this timeline, right? So this might be, in this example, let's pretend like we're talking about obstacles. When we think of this in linear time, if we make the obstacle so big, it can feel like, oh my gosh, like I can't get past this. What's going on? Why can't I get past this? But that's the trouble with linear time, looking at life like that. So I'm going to encourage you to go more towards this kind of view of your life and what you're capable of and all the possibilities. I didn't even put those in there. Let's do a fun color for possibility. Let's do a pretty one. Yeah, how about purple? Pink. All right. So let's put this in the equation. When we're feeling like we're focused on this, like, obstacle, we can turn that into possibility as an indicator to do something different. So when you put the GPS address inside of the like maps or Waze or whatever GPS you're using, whenever you make a wrong turn, it's like, hey, get back on track. Hey, get back on track, right? That's because you were uber clear about where you wanted to go. That's because this right here, is clear. So it's telling you, hey, get back on track, right? But sometimes we can have these changes, right? Or these detours, if you will. And that's okay. That's okay as long as you've decided how long you want to be on the detour. For me, I don't like detours too long because I'm still so super focused on what I want and living right now. Okay. I don't want to go in the past. All right. So let's talk about possibility. When you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this challenge is too bad. This, obstacle is crazy. I don't know what to do. Boop-a-doop-a-doo, right? Return back to possibility within this framework. Oh, but this could happen, and this could happen, and this could be great, and I could meet this person, and I could, they could have some way to help me or inform me of or teach me of something that I could help myself with. So all of those things are mixed in here, right? Discoveries, information, knowledge, learning, applying the knowledge, which would be wisdom. All of those things are possible along the way. But what's crazy is that when we get stuck, or we think we're stuck, or we keep saying, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, you are existing big time, like right here. You are not allowing these possibilities to take you from the obstacle to your destination. And let's say that, you don't really have a destination, right? Some people are like, I don't know, I don't know where I'm going. That's all good. What you can do along the way, let me just clean some of this up. What you can do along the way is you can say, am I closer to what I want? So let's let's write that question out. So along the way, when you face obstacles, you can ask, am I closer to what I want? Okay, or who I want to be. Am I closer? Because sometimes closer is better than zero. You got to make an effort in order to reap the benefit. Theorizing about it, dangerous territory. So am I closer to what I want and who I want to be? Now, if you go back and you are starting to like get in the danger zone of like, what if, right? Sorry about my handwriting. What if I could have, I should? No. Don't should all over yourself. Don't do it. Because that is in the past, okay? Let's go back over here. When you are in should territory, you are right here. And you are staying right here. But when you zoom out, you can see, oh, all these other things, all these other paths are possible. So I think I'm going to leave that right here. I hope this has been helpful. I know it's random, but I got a request to start doing more diagrams. People seem to really resonate, like get down with the diagrams to expand on thoughts in real time. This really helps me. It has helped me for many, many years. And personally, I think that the brain is a series of networks and it likes to like organize information. And organization is about harmony. It's not really about apps and tools and, that sort of stuff. Now we can use apps and tools and processes to create structure and support for harmony. But if we don't use them and we don't remain consistent or committed, then they're going to fall apart and it's going to be chaos, right? And then you're going to have to form a new structure. So it's like, okay, that's fine. What about just maintaining a structure that works for you? And it can be as loose as I make a diagram every week about how I feel and concepts and thoughts that I've had and work myself, into understanding them better. Or it can be realizing what you don't want and writing that out and switching it over and identifying what you do want so that you can see in the middle, okay, right now I will need to change these certain things if I want to be on my way on a better path toward what I actually want in the life I want to live. All right. Hopefully we'll see you very soon. You can find me on Instagram at Heartbeat Hive, and you can go to my website and find more about coaching there, heartbeathive.com. I'll see you in the next video.